Montez to throw. Down the left side to fade. Laviska's in the end zone. Over the shoulder. Catch is made by Laviska Shenault. Touchdown. Touchdown, Colorado. How do you cover that man? Well, Laviska Shenault did it again. 4 touchdowns for the Colorado Buffaloes as they improved to 5-0 in the season. 2-0 in Pac-12 conference play. Hi, everybody. Welcome into the Buffalo Stampede. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Coach Gary Barnett. 28-21. Buffs impressive in a win over Arizona State.
And that touchdown, no one touched him, which is my favorite kind of touchdown.
Oh, that's right.
Because nobody can get hurt when that happens.
That's right.
Fantastic game. I think probably the Buffs' best game. It's my favorite game of the year so far, even though the Nebraska one would be a close second one. But this one, you know, they did the things that we've talked about all year is, can this team run the ball when they have to run the ball? And they did. Could they stop the run when they had to stop the run? And they did that very, very impressively. A year ago, this team couldn't have done either one of those, and so they're doing it now. And you throw in all the play you're getting from your quarterback. Steven Montez is having, you know, I thought last week was his best game. I think this one was his best game because he operated with a real high quarterback IQ in this game.
Laviska Shenault, by the way, over 100 yards receiving, 4th time in 5 games. Trayvon McMillan, over 100 yards rushing, 4th time in 5 games. Steven Montez, 2 touchdowns. He's got 11 in the season, only 2 interceptions. The offensive line blocked well. The defense was great in the second half. Really, no matter how you slice this game, it was impressive by the Buffalo.
We missed a field goal. That was the biggest mistake that we made all night. And so we had a great crowd, Mark. Boy, give that crowd credit. And I thought coordinators did a great job of adjusting for the second half, but game planning in this game as well. So, you know, great team efforts, and, you know, that's the way you want it. You and I both like this team a lot.
Yeah, without question. We've said it before here on the show, and certainly on the radio broadcast at Colorado Football Network. It's a team that's energized from the bottom up, and there's a lot of confidence with that group. Steven Montez right now, speaking of confidence, playing at a very high level, over 300 yards passing, and we caught up with him after the game. Buffaloes are 5-0. That was, you know, Coach and I were just talking up there about, you know, who our player of the game was, and your numbers were fantastic. Laviska was fantastic, and Trayvon, and we decided that this entire roster gets to be the player of the game today.
I mean, the O-line, too. The O-line carried us those last 2-3 drives. Carried us. Didn't just do a good job. They carried us down the field. So Trayvon McMillan, gosh, Kyle Evans. I mean, we got dudes everywhere that know how to play football, and they do it very well.
How about to get the crowd out here real quick? This was the largest crowd since you've been here. I thought it was electric out there. What was it like in the field?
Oh, it was electric. It was more than electric. It was like getting struck by lightning every time a big play creased it, or every time we completed a pass. Fans were on their feet. When defense was out there and we needed a big stop, fans were on their feet going crazy, clapping. The band was playing. It was an incredible atmosphere. The best atmosphere I played in.
I want you to comment as well about the job your defense did. In the first half, ASU found some creases out there and got a little bit going. In the second half, that unit shut them down.
Oh, shut them down. Locked them up. They were getting pressure on Manny. They were gloving Nikhil. I mean, they were doing some good things on defense, and I mean that ASU offense, they're no slouches. They put up 58 last week, so for our defense to go out there and do that kind of just shows you how good our defense is. And we were minus Nate Landman, possibly arguably one of the best players on our defense. So I mean, I just couldn't be more proud of those guys. I mean, they just work and work and work and work. They work all week, and then they come out and they play awesome on Saturday.
Where this team is at right now, there's a collective will about this group, isn't it?
Yeah, there is. I think this group's kind of just tough. I think we got a lot of tough guys. I think when adversity kind of strikes us, I think we kind of take it in and we embrace it a little bit. So, I mean, that's a good attribute to have as a team. So, I mean, I'm just very excited of what we have in the future. Got to keep working. We still got a ton of work to do. A ton of work. We got to go play USC in LA next week. So we'll be prepared.
Steven Montez, awful impressive. And, you know, we talked before the ball game about Arizona State being #1 of the Pac-12, quarterback sacks, tackles for a loss. It wasn't ASU's defense that did that to the opposition's offense. It was the Buffs defense that was putting pressure on Manny Wilkins for Arizona State.
No question. They did a great job. You know, after the opening run in the second half by Eno Benjamin, every run he had after that was a negative yardage or no gain run. And that, you know, in our keys to the game, we said stop the run, and then stop the run.
Right.
We finally stopped the run, and we did it very effectively. And, you know, you talk about pressure. Here's pressure. You line Laviska Shenault up at the inside receiver of 3 receivers. you leave the other receiver wide open because 2 guys have to cover him, and that's when they throw the ball deep to K.D. Nixon for a touchdown that wasn't a touchdown. So Laviska's presence puts pressure on that other team as well.
Without question. In fact, K.D. Nixon, by the way, had 97 yards receiving, nearly had a touchdown, a 51-yarder, went out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Mike McIntyre after the ball game gave up multiple game balls, one to the running backs, namely Traylon McMillan, and one to that offensive line. It's a young group that they're shuffling around here as of late, but they seem to be finding themselves.
Well, you know, the good news is there's about 7 or 8 guys that all can work at any of those positions, and they're all getting a lot of playing time. And you know, they're getting better and better, and we've stayed healthy at that position in the offensive line. And when you got 7, 8, 9 guys that can all play in there at the same time, you got a lot of flexibility, and you can substitute during the game. And you know, they're just getting better. And against a team like this that brings the kind of pressure that they did, I thought they kept Steven very clean. There wasn't a time he didn't get sacked at all tonight.
That's right.
So, and really not even close.
Yep. And by the way, they had 18 sacks today, ASU coming in here. Coach talked about it in our postgame on the radio. He said this team's got a collective will, and they showed it in a 28-21 victory over Arizona State. Buffalo's 5-0 overall, 2-0 in Pac-12 conference play. Coming up next here in the Stampede, Andy Lindahl, our sideline reporter, is going to join us. That comes your way next. Takes his snap, turns right, hands off, and Benjamin gets blown up that time. Oh, what a play! And charging in is Mustafa Johnson. Running back to his right, hands off to Benjamin, and Davion Taylor blows that one up, and it's a loss of 2 yards on the play. Turns a corner, Brady Russell can't bring him down, and then took a heck of a shot off the sideline. Oh, what a shot at the 40-yard line that time. Under center, Manny Wilkins, he trips as he comes out, boots out to his right, he's under duress, grabbed by Mustafa Johnson, and he's sacked back at the 10-yard line. Oh, that Buffs defense was swarming in a 28-21 victory over Arizona State. Back in the Stampede, Mark Johnson, Andy Lindahl, our sideline reporter. You were down there all ball game long, and that's one of the comments you said to me when I got down to the locker room is how physical this game was.
Yeah, really both sides of the ball, but I'll tell you, the defense just decided to bring it like you haven't seen before. I'm serious, Mark. I've covered this team. Now, I went through Hawkins. I went through the end of Embry. I took a little break, and I've been back for 2 years of McIntyre. I've not seen them play physical like this on both sides of the ball, but that defensive line, you know, you saw it against Nebraska. And how many times and I'm telling you, there was a play just beyond where we are right now where the Arizona State running back squared his shoulders. Benjamin went right into the line and met a wall. And that happened 2 or 3 times during this game. The quarterback was under duress the entire time. I mean, it just was, they really, really set a physical tone for this game, and they're going to need to take that on the road.
Yeah, without question at USC next week. Remember, Arizona State had not given up a sack in the last 2 games. Only given up 5, in fact, this season. The Buffaloes got 3 of them. A play that will be talked a lot about by Buffs fans. Nate Landman goes in, makes a tackle, ends up getting ejected for targeting. It's one of those that we don't understand in football right now. It certainly didn't seem just when it happened, and it takes a little something out of this game, but the team responded to that.
Yeah, they did. You know, they came together, and they did a great job, and Drew Lewis was a man on fire after that happened. He said he took it personally in our post-game interview. He played like he took it personally. And I'll say this, I don't know what more Landman is supposed to do. He went in with the shoulder. There was incidental contact with me to the head.
Yep.
I don't know what you do.
Here's the good news. It happened the first half. He doesn't have to sit out. He sat out the second half. Doesn't have to sit out next week at USC. Speaking of physicality, that defensive front is playing very well right now. And the guy leading them is Kwahn Drake, and we mic'd him up before the game.
You gotta love it, baby. Oh, yeah. Let's go get it. You gotta go get you one, Law. Yes, sir. Straight out the block. You already know what time it is. Let's go, D1. Come on, baby. You know what it is, D1. Let's go now. Gotta love it. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's go. I got 2 rocks in my shoe. Let's go. You know what the messed up thing is? I put it there. Hips and hands. Hips and hands. Pass. Jet. Let's go. There you go. All the way through it. All the way through. All the way through. All the way. Shade right. Shade left. Shade left. Shade left. Shade left. Shade left. Set. Everybody's going. Press. Peek. Release. Violent. Strong. Press. Peek. Release. Almost. Shrug. There it is. Keep the feet hot. Go in another direction. Committed or declared. The ball has to be committed or declared. Rip. Let's go. Don't just run out there. Step up, make him spin out. Let's go. Club rip. Boom. Club rip. Give me a little ball first. Give me a little head for it. Everybody fall for a little head. Get to him. D-line, let's go. Violent. Get low. Violent. Don't be afraid to bring that cross chop out. Let's go to work here. Let's go. Give me what I'm looking for, Trey. They can't block you one-on-one. Can't wait press the height now. Can't wait that B-gap run lane, remember? You got to close that down for me. Hey, lock out, keep your feet high, baby. Hands, you got to get your hands inside. Hey, now just work the violent release at the end of that, all right? Yep. Let's go, man. Got to get your mind right today. All we need you, the team depending on you. You doing what you do, help us do what we do. Let's go now. Carson Wells, I need you today. I need you today, baby. I need you like a one-legged man need his left leg. Let me a deuce of that juice. Let's go, Land, man. We gonna hit him in the mouth. Yeah. We gonna stomp on Nate. Hey.
Defensive line coach Kwahn Drake mic'd up before the ball game. Boy, his unit was playing very, very well in this contest. And the thing that strikes you, Andy, I think, about this team is kind of this business-like approach. Darren Chiaverini keeps tweeting out this whole nothing to say, a lot to prove, and that's kind of the mentality this team is taking.
Yeah, that's the other thing that's just so starkly different from a couple of the other CU teams that I've covered. Something, and most has been going good this year, but you don't look like. You couldn't tell looking at the bench whether they were up, down, whatever it was. And that's what I love about it. They're not overreacting to the moment. They just handle their business. They just continue to handle their business. And I'll tell you, you talked about those stats in the second half. Talk about handling your business. They look great at second half adjustments. That bodes very well, especially for this defense. Love what I'm seeing right now, Mark. You got to be excited if you're a Buff fan.
Buffaloes are in the driver's seat right now, 5-0 overall, 2-0 in Pac-12 conference play. They came into the weekend one of only 14 teams in America undefeated, only team in the Pac-12. What a challenge now. USC was off this weekend. Buffaloes at the Coliseum next week. Now, been a great series overall. But, you know, Gary said to us in the radio postgame, he said, I'm not sure this team cares what the history has been. They're on a business trip going out there.
Yeah, you know what? The history didn't matter against UCLA the other night. The history shouldn't matter in any game going forward. And you know what? I think quietly, the guys that were here a couple of years ago, not a lot of them left, but they're looking forward to that matchup with Washington. So, but you got to handle the USC business.
Is there anyone more impressive in college football than Laviska Shenault right now?
I don't know who it would be. I really don't. And maybe it's West Coast bias, but we need a little of that for a while. Honestly, a receiver with his patience, he shows the patience of Le'Veon Bell before he runs the football. I've never seen that out of a receiver.
Yep, he's been over 100 yards, I should say, 4 to the 5 games, had 4 touchdowns in this contest. What a weapon he's become for the Buffaloes. What a team the Buffaloes are. In 2018, they're 5-0, 2-0 in Pac-12 conference play at USC next week. For Andy Lindahl, I'm Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. When we come back, we're talking running. The CU women's cross-country team ranked #1 in the country.
Dani Jones pulling away. Neal does not have an answer this year. Dani Jones has come a long way to purge the past. Second last year, she wins it in 2017.
There's some shots of Dani Jones winning the Pac-12 championship in cross-country last year. Hi, everybody. I'm Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Hey, look, we found Dani Jones. Coincidentally, works out nice. Highlights, and there she is. Congratulations. You had a 4th-place finish in the Nutty Cone last week in Wisconsin, a place you're going to be here again this coming weekend. But give us kind of a thought or two on how the early part of the season has been going for you.
Yeah, thank you. Wisconsin was fun. It was unexpected a little bit. We went in just wanting to see the course and see where our fitness was. And it ended up being a result we weren't expecting. But I think it showed throughout the race. We were 8th at 2K and then 4th at 4K, and then we ended up winning at 6K. So, yeah, our plan was kind of given away at those splits. But yeah, it was a great surprise, and we all did great. So
yeah, the team did fantastic. In fact, that earned them a #1 ranking for the first time. They've been #2 all season long. Does that mean anything at this point in time, or is it just kind of a nice feather?
I wish it did, but it does not. Yeah, there's a lot of teams we haven't faced yet, including a lot of Pac-12 teams. And it's so early that it's hard to tell. So we have a lot of proving to do and a lot of work yet to be done, but hopefully we can finish where we started. You were a little nicked up last year during the track season for the indoor season. Obviously everything's okay now? Yeah, everything's great now. You feeling strong? Yeah, feeling good. So hopefully we keep it that way, knock on wood. Right. So it was a good off-season training for you, getting ready for your senior year? Yeah, great summer, a lot of the girls in town. So we had a good start, and hopefully it finishes that way. Take us through an off-season. I mean, it's got to be more than just running. I mean, right? Are you getting ready for the season? Yeah, it's, getting to eat a little bit more of what you like, but it's more of like the longer distances and less workouts, just a lot of miles with your friends and your teammates, so it's definitely a bonding experience. It's a lot of time together. So. All right, well, she's coming off a great race in the Nutty Cone. One of the great iconic runs here in the Front Range is Magnolia Road, made famous by the Buffaloes, and we had a chance to follow the Buffs as they trained last weekend.
I moved to Boulder in 1991, and I was not coaching, and I was still running. So I bought some topographical maps and some trail maps and discovered a windy, unpaved road up in the mountains called Magnolia Road. Drove up, parked my car, and went for a run and found what everybody finds up here, which is an amazing, beautiful, challenging training stimulus. We're at what we call West Magnolia, that runs at about 82 to 9,000 feet, and this is a well-known training venue for us. And if you notice today, a lot of visitors come up here. Retired guys from the CU program and other Olympic aspirants. It's become kind of a gathering place for serious distance runners.
I really like this run. It's one of my favorites. It's really pretty. It's really hard. Like, you feel pretty accomplished when you're done, and it's nice that it's on dirt roads the whole time and a lot of rolling hills, so it's a good long run.
Really difficult. No matter what you're doing, you're getting a good workout in. I really love hills. You know, it's really like a test of your grit, and it kind of hardens you to those hardships that you might face in a race or in other workouts, and I think that's like the big learning experience for Mags. At the end of a long training week, you're kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm nervous. This could go really badly.
I mean, as an athlete, it was one of the toughest places for me to train. But Mark always said when we were up here is Mags never lies. So it exposes any kind of weakness in your training or your fitness, anything like that. And so there was times that I would come up here and battle the roads myself when I was training. By the time I was running post-collegiately, I kind of figured out how to run this course. For the team itself, it's a historical place. A lot of the greatest athletes that have come through CU, as far as runners concerned, train right here on a regular basis. Our Olympians, our pro athletes, our world champions, they've all trained here, and so the historical element is definitely a huge factor for our team.
There's the Buffaloes training on Magnolia Road. That's really become kind of an iconic thing in
definitely.
running, hasn't it?
It's definitely a historical run. You hear runners like Adam Goucher and Kara, Jenny Simpson talking about runs like that, and yeah, it's become a really famous run.
Yeah. Is there something unique about it, or just the length of it, or where it's at, or the surrounding, or?
Just the level of difficulty, just how hard it is. Takes a lot out of you, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So we're really fortunate to have a run like that.
Having a couple of the great buffs out there running along with you last week, and Jenny Simpson, Kara Goucher, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Yeah, Jenny running next to me to my right and Kara to my left. It's kind of unbelievable.
Does it kind of, I don't know if motivate's the right word, but when you've got those caliber of runners along with you, up your game a little bit?
Oh, yeah, and just the amount of times they've run on that course, and to be able to run the same kinds of miles that such, famous athletes have been on, it's incredible.
Got to be cool. Now this weekend the Buffs are heading back to the pre-nationals once again in Madison, Wisconsin. There's a good chance Colorado could run there 3 times. We expect them to run there 3 times this year.
Yeah.
Going back and running that course that ultimately is where the national championships are going to take place, what do you learn? What can you take away from those?
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about running a course multiple times. I think just getting experience and getting familiar with it. Seeing, kind of memorizing the cracks and the holes and every turn and hill. So, yeah, the more data we can get out of that course, I think the better off we'll be.
Okay, and is there, I don't want you to give away too many secrets here, but there's a game plan when you go in, how you approach that, even from an individual or team standpoint?
Yeah, and I think getting experience and kind of experimenting with different ways to run the course is extremely valuable, and we take something different out of it every time.
All right.
Definitely.
Fantastic. See, she didn't give away any secrets there at all. But good luck this weekend,
Thank
all right?
you. I appreciate it.
That's senior Dani Jones. She and the Buffaloes will be running in the pre-nationals this weekend in Madison, Wisconsin. Coming up next here at the Stampede, we're talking basketball. Evan Battey from the CU men's team will join us.
McKinley's got another run out. Down the lane, elevates and slams with 2 hands. And the Buffs are on top by 9. And it's over in Boulder. Back to back. The Buffs down number 4 on Thursday. And this afternoon, they take care of number 14, Arizona.
That was a great day here at the CU Event Center. A big victory over the Arizona Wildcats. Celebration in the locker room back in the Stampede. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, redshirt freshman Evan Battey. He was celebrating not because he played in that game. He couldn't play. Don't get me started on that topic, but it's good to see you. And it's good to see you back in the basketball court right now.
Good to see you too, Mark.
Yeah. Practice has been underway for a week. Your first kind of back after all you've gone through in the past year here. How's it been for you?
It's been really good. It's a little different knowing that I can play now,
right.
Practicing. So more intensity for me, especially on the court. So, yeah.
I think you're one of the great examples here on campus of persistence because of all you went through. First was the ruling that you couldn't play. Right. Then you went through the health stuff you went through. How did you kind of fight your way through that?
Just taking it day by day and really fighting back, fighting through adversity and just believing in God and the process.
Yeah, you know, here on campus in the athletics department right now, one of the big initiatives is mental health. You've been involved with Boulder Buffs, which is a student-led group. I mean, you kind of went through some of that, where you could have gotten down and, you know, a little bit in a dark place if you were kind of going through all those things.
Right, so, you know, a lot of times, like, I used to be, like, a great talker, you know, public speaking. I used to be, like, really good at that, and,
yeah, there's a struggle at times with it.
Yeah. So, like, I often, like, slur my words and everything like that, so I kind of, like, didn't feel like myself a little bit, so I had to find my way back to myself and, you know, just really, you know, like I said, believing in the process and everyday speech therapy, you know, all that stuff that requires me being myself.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing a great job, by the way.
Thank you.
You can come back anytime.
Thank you.
Where did basketball play in that whole process for you?
You know, Coach Bell didn't really, like, stress about basketball. You know, he said, like, it would be here if you wanted to come back. You know, if I didn't, I would still have a scholarship at CU. So he didn't want me to feel like I had to play basketball for me to come back. So, you know, knowing that fact and knowing that my team's got me, my coaching staff's got me, really pushed me to come back.
One of the young, exciting, energetic coaches on that staff is Kim English, and we mic'd him up at practice the other day.
That ain't one, that's zero. That's zero. That's zero. You gotta make one. That's still zero. Damn, Shane, you gotta get that. You ain't play football. You never played football, did you? That's a pick six.
Been told almost as many times to talk as he's
told the rebound. Inability to talk. Deshaun, get a deflection. Deshaun, slap the ball out of his hands. Slap the ball out of his hands. Slap the ball out of his hands. Slap it out of his hands. Good, Eli. Good. Yeah, Jacob. In a game, you missed that, you telling yourself, that's a make. Can't wait till I get that one again. Don't let him, no threes! No threes! No defense! Perfect passes, no defense! Let's make this pass on the move. Make this pass on the move. Not terrible. Not terrible. Coach Greer! Coach Greer! Coach Greer! Said we need that free throw book in the locker room. I think that's a wrap. We're good.
There's assistant coach Kim English giving the Buffs a little energy on the practice court. This team this year, a lot of excitement around this group. Seems to be such a complete group. Give us your assessment here after a week of practice.
I feel like this year, this team has more of an intensity in practice, you know, more competitiveness in everything we do. So, you know, whether we're scrimmaging or 5-on-5 or 4-on-4 or 3-on-3, you know, we're all competing to win. And that's going to make each other better. We always have this saying, iron sharpens iron. So just enabling that every day into our practices.
You know, this guy right here brings a lot of emotion. I'd imagine, number one, I think you're an emotional player to begin with. But then it's all pent up after being off the court for a year, I would think, right?
So I definitely have like a fire lit under me. So, you know, I'm excited to get out there. I already play with like much passion, emotion. Not emotional, but emotion. It's a difference. So emotion is good.
Kyle, I think so. Yeah. Well, we can't wait to see you on the court this season.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. That's Evan Battey, Buffs basketball player. They got the first game coming up November 13th here at the CU Event Center against Drake. That wraps up this week's Buffalo Stampede. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. We'll talk to you next week.